Hi, and thank you for tuning in to Noir Histoire. I'm Natasha, and in this episode, I'll be sharing what I've learned about Fred Gray. Born on December 14th, 1930, notable attorney, nationality, American. Fred David Gray was born in Montgomery's Washington Park neighborhood, the youngest of Nancy Jones and Abraham Gray's 5 children. Unfortunately, Gray's father died when he was 2 years old. Prior to his death, Abraham provided for the family by working as a carpenter while Nancy was a domestic worker and cook. Abraham's death created financial difficulties for the family, which required Nancy to become the family's breadwinner. Due to his mother having to work full-time, Gray began school 1 year early. At the age of 5, he was enrolled in the first grade at the Loveless School in his aunt's class. In keeping with Nancy's wishes that Gray become a preacher, he attended the Nashville Christian Institute, NCI, from the 8th grade onward. Attending NCI provided an opportunity for Gray to spend a lot of time in the company of Marshall Keeble, the school's president. Keeble was both a teacher and preacher, and being in close proximity to him allowed Gray to observe and learn a great deal about public speaking. While still a teen, Gray was ordained a minister. After graduating from high school, he enrolled at Alabama State College for Negroes. The plan had been for Gray to become a history teacher and preacher, but while attending Alabama State College, a professor encouraged Gray to apply for law school. Due to segregation, none of the state's grad schools accepted black students. Looking outside the state, Gray applied to and was accepted at the Western Reserve University Law School, now Case Western Reserve University. In 1954, with his new law degree in hand, he returned to Montgomery and established a private law practice with the aim of fighting segregation. 2 other major events would occur in Gray's life during the next 2 years. One was his marriage to Bernice Hill, a union that would produce 4 children. The other, which would bring Gray to prominence, was his representation of Rosa Parks following her arrest on December 1st, 1955, which would spark the Montgomery bus boycott. As one of only 2 black attorneys in town, Gray would play a prominent role in multiple local civil rights cases. He and Parks were friends and had met for lunch on the day of her arrest. Earlier in the year, Gray had served as counsel for Claudette Colvin after she'd been arrested for refusing to give her receipt in accordance with local segregation laws. He also represented Aurelia Browder and 3 other women in Browder v. Gale, another public transportation segregation case. Gray's work on those cases led to a federal court deeming the laws which created segregated public transportation unconstitutional. Through political and legal machinations, Alabama had basically outlawed the NAACP. Thus, for the most part, the organization was unable to openly work in the state. Instead, Gray provided legal support for local activists, initiatives, and organizations, including the NAACP. He served as counsel in several cases involving voting rights and education segregation. Efforts to gerrymander Tuskegee, Alabama, by rezoning a large number of black citizens from being within to being outside the city limits, and Gray's efforts led to the integration of several local school districts as well as public colleges and universities. He filed a class action lawsuit and for an order of protection against law enforcement on behalf of the Selma marchers who had been attacked on Bloody Sunday. Obtainment of a successful verdict enabled the marchers to move forward. Gray was part of the legal team that successfully defended Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. against charges of state tax evasion. He even fought back against the ploy to make him ineligible to practice law. The 1970s would bring additional milestones in Gray's life. At the start of the decade, he was elected to the state legislature, becoming only the second black person to have done so since Reconstruction. 2 years later, Gray filed another important class action lawsuit. This time, he was serving as the legal representative of the victims of the Tuskegee syphilis study. The lawsuit would drag on for 25 years and result in a settlement and the government avoiding admitting to any wrongdoing. At the end of the decade, Gray was nominated by President Jimmy Carter as a U.S. District Court judge. Gray requested to be withdrawn from consideration after local conservatives took issue with his civil rights record. Over the years, Gray has received numerous awards in recognition of his contributions as an attorney. He published an autobiography, Bus Ride to Justice, in 1994, which was updated in 2012. Fred Gray was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom on July 7, 2022. Thanks for tuning in. Show notes and sources are available on the Noir Histoire website via the episode description. I'm working on creating downloadables and infographics, so keep an eye on the website. These Black History Facts are released every Tuesday, so if you enjoyed this episode and want more, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and check out my Black History Facts playlist.